Health officials now say shredded lettuce served at some Taco Bell locations is linked to a 5-state outbreak of the intestinal illness cyclosporiasis. Those states include Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio, and West Virginia. CNN's Jacqueline Howard is with us now. All right, Jacqueline, what more are you learning here?
Brianna, we're learning that more than 1,600 people have gotten sick as part of this outbreak that has been connected back to the shredded lettuce sold at some Taco Bell locations. And among those people who've gotten sick, we know that 94 of them have been hospitalized. And again, this is in just those 5 states that you mentioned: Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Indiana. And Brianna, we also know that the FDA says it is working directly with the supplier of that shredded lettuce to determine if the contaminated lettuce has been sent to other places too, outside of Taco Bell. So this is an active investigation that is ongoing. Now, Taco Bell has provided a statement in response to the outbreak. In the statement, Taco Bell says, quote, "Based on ongoing conversations with public health officials and out of an abundance of caution, Taco Bell has taken immediate action to voluntarily remove potentially impacted lettuce from a supplier in select states. The affected ingredient from our supplier is being indefinitely removed from our supply chain nationwide and will be replaced within 24 hours in select states," end quote. So for now, Brianna, the CDC is telling people do not eat shredded iceberg lettuce served at Taco Bell locations in, again, Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, Ohio, and West Virginia. And if you do develop symptoms like watery diarrhea or fatigue, nausea, or sometimes people have explosive diarrhea, then definitely talk with your doctor and tell them if you have eaten lettuce or what you have eaten recently that may have contributed to your illness. Brianna?
So not all victims have eaten at Taco Bell. For instance, we spoke with someone on the show this week who had confirmed cyclospora, had eaten actually in New York City at an establishment that was not Taco Bell. So what does that mean?
That's right, Brianna. That tells us that there might be something broader going on. And the CDC has said that it is investigating 2 separate situations. One, there is that outbreak centered in the Midwest. But 2, we do know that several other states have reported cases, and nationally, for now, it does appear that there are higher than normal numbers of cyclosporiasis nationally. Now, could these other cases be tied back to the Midwest outbreak? Could they also be tied to just travel? Could they be just we happen to see more cases than usual this year? It's a random year. Those questions, that other situation is what the CDC is also investigating. So, Brianna, while we have the Midwest outbreak, like you said, we are seeing other cases too where people are getting sick and they haven't eaten at Taco Bell. So that's why there are more questions to answer here while health officials look at these increases in cyclosporiasis cases.
Yeah, how did we get to this point? All right, Jacqueline Howard, thank you so much.
I'm joined now by the Director of Food Safety at Consumer Reports, James Rogers. James, thanks very much for joining us. Thanks for all the important work you're doing. You're saying the answer isn't swapping a salad, let's say, for ice cream. Explain to our viewers what safety precautions they should be taking right now.
Well, Wolf, it depends on their tolerance for risk. If you want to remove as much of the risk as possible, the advice is that you actually cook your salad greens or your fruits and vegetables, or you don't eat them at all. However, that is not some advice that some people are willing to have. So we at Consumer Reports suggest that you need to practice good food hygiene, kitchen hygiene by washing your hands before and after, by sanitizing the areas that you're working in, only buy whole fruits and vegetables and cut them up yourself. Avoid bagged lettuce, avoid pre-cut fruits and vegetables. And then if you do want to use lettuce, we're suggesting that you strip off the outer layers because that's where most of the contamination will lie, and only use the inner layers of a head of lettuce. And that should reduce your exposure and your risk for contracting this infection.
Taco Bell, as you probably know, says it has, quote, taken immediate action to voluntarily remove potentially impacted lettuce from selected states. The affected ingredient from our supplier, they say, is being indefinitely removed from our supply chain nationwide and will be replaced within 24 hours in select states, end quote. Will that be enough in your view?
I think it will be enough in those 5 states because it's important to remove the potentially contaminated product from consumers' ability to purchase and consume. Nationwide, we don't know yet because the FDA and the CDC are still investigating to see how widespread was this particular lot or batch of iceberg lettuce distributed in the United States. Right now, the indication is it is in those 5 states that you mentioned, but it may be further extended. And so we're waiting to see what the next part of the investigation reveals to ensure it was only sent to those 5 states.
Yeah, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia. These affections, as you know, aren't unnecessarily uncommon, especially this time of year. How does this current cluster of cases, though, compare?
You're totally correct. As the weather gets warmer, and you know we've had a pretty warm early summer, you see this particular infection rising to a certain base level. What we're seeing, though, in this cluster is like for Michigan, who has the highest number of cases, typically they have about 300 or so, according to some of the data I've seen. There are over 3,000 cases now in Michigan. So that's a 10-fold increase. And again, it's probably attributed to some type of food source that has been brought into those regions. As you mentioned, it's been identified as iceberg lettuce. And that people are falling sick by consuming this. And so this is unusual. 10-fold higher cases in Michigan really shows a huge spike in this type of infection.
James Rogers, thanks again for joining us. Appreciate it very, very much.
Now, Wolf, Taco Bell has provided a statement in response to this outbreak, and Taco Bell says, quote, based on ongoing conversations with public health officials and out of an abundance of caution, Taco Bell has taken immediate action to voluntarily remove potentially impacted lettuce from a supplier in select states. The affected ingredient from our supplier is being indefinitely removed from our supply chain nationwide and will be replaced within 24 hours in select states. And Wolf, the FDA also says that it is working directly with the supplier to determine if this contaminated shredded lettuce has been sent to other places as well. Because like you said, Wolf, outside of that Midwest outbreak, there are other cases popping up in other states. So those cases are still under investigation also. So this is an active, ongoing outbreak that health officials are continuing to investigate, Wolf.
So if people come up with these symptoms, exploding diarrhea, as it's being called, what should they do?
That's right. So definitely call your doctor if you do have the symptoms of cyclosporiasis. Like you said, Wolf, watery or explosive diarrhea, nausea, fatigue, and monitor your symptoms because some of the people that have been hospitalized, their symptoms led to dehydration, which can lead to hospitalization. So drink lots of fluids, monitor your symptoms, and call your doctor and also let them know if you have recently eaten shredded lettuce.
Yeah, good point. All right, Jacqueline Howard, thank you very, very much. Very disturbing development unfolding.